Good morning, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani and I warmly welcome all of you to Study IQ. Positive minds produce positive lives. Very true, easy to understand and bit difficult to apply because we have this long habit, this mind of ours, right? It has this long negative habit of saying bad thing in everything. But if we train ourselves, if we train our mind, then we can change its perspective. We can shift it towards this side of the tilt, or on the positive side. With this, dear friends, we have many important things on our table today. This one is about RBI's monetary policy. It's about Sri Lanka. This one is about Skill India urgently needs reform. Very important in terms of your mains examination, right? Good article here. And this one is about fake news fiasco. It is basically an article written on our Smriti Irani. We'll go through it and we'll go through all those mistakes, you can say, or this aggressive step taken by Smriti Irani. Very good article, no doubt. And then you have these two items here. You have this article. It is about Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Basically, it is trying to say that consent is crucial. Now, we have talked about Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. We have analyzed this thing many a times in our Hindu analysis, so I am not going to repeat this one. Of course, it would be very boring for you as well because it's the same thing. Then you have a special video lecture provided by us. My colleague Dr. Gaurav Garg came out with a special video lecture on this thing, so you can check that one out as well. And I'm sure regular listeners, you would be aware about all these things, why it is important to have a consent, what are the checks and balances that we need to keep, and things like that. Here you have this yes, no, and complicated. I will leave it on you guys. Let's wait and watch for Supreme Court's stand on this thing, because we talked about this thing yesterday that Centre has filed a review petition and the Supreme Court is going to go through this, you can say, this judgment or guidelines that are basically issued by Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago. So let's wait and watch. But again, if you have spare time, then go through this yes, no, and complicated thing. With this, dear friends, these are the two links here. One is my Facebook page, the other one is my Twitter handle, from where you can download the PDF of today's lecture. Study IQ's pen drive and tablet courses are available. On your screen you can see the exams that we cover: bank and SSC, UPSC. You have defense exams, state level exams, KVS, CLAT. We have got test series out there for you. All our things, all these pen drive and tablet courses are designed by the best faculties of our country. And to find out more, all you have to do is check out StudyIQ.com. If you have any question or queries, give us a call on these numbers, or you can use the chat support that is available on our portal. Now let's start with the first article. Surprising softening. RBI's policymakers have acted predictably. Means it was already known very well that they are not going to reduce this interest rate. The interest rate has been kept unchanged. Now I believe we would have like two types of listeners. One who are following this discussion, the Hindu analysis, from its inception. It's been nearly 6 months now that we are discussing the Hindu analysis in English, and we have talked many a times on this interest rate. If it goes up, if it comes down, what are the things that can take place? Then I have delivered I think more than 3 lectures, a special video lecture on this RBI bi-monthly policy. So I will reckon you guys, if you are new to this video, and the reason why I do advertise, it's not basically advertisement, right? But it is about informing you if you want some extra help for this topic, this interest rate and bi-monthly monetary policy and things like that, then I will reckon you guys to check out this bi-monthly policy video that is available. I'll try to come out with a special video lecture for this latest updates as well. I'll try my level best, but the last 2 videos will help you a lot. I have explained everything, demand and supply and how it works and other things associated with it. So it was predicted already that RBI will not make any change with this interest rate, because if interest rates right, if they go up, say for example, then it would be a good news for depositors. You can take your own example. If you have some money, say for example 5 lakh rupees in your saving account with a bank, and if interest rate is been, say for example, if interest rate is raised, then you are going to get some extra money, isn't it? First you used to get 10% for deposit, for example. Now the government has decided, or this bank has decided, to give you 15%. So of course you would be more than happy. But imagine the same situation. You are the one who borrowed money from the bank, and now interest rate is going up. Earlier on you used to pay 10%, now you would be paying 15%. So you won't be happy about this thing, isn't it? So this is how it will work. Now you can imagine this whole chain of you can say reaction, this chain reaction. A person who is say for example trading in fruits and vegetables, if he has borrowed a loan, then he will increase a bit of price of fruits and vegetables, and then the purchase, if you go there, means then you have your customer. Now if food is becoming expensive for a person, then he will try to cover that by charging whatever he is charging, bit extra on services or goods, whatever things in which he or she is dealing with. So in this way the whole market will get affected, right? So I hope this is clear. The other thing that you read many a time is this neutral stance and accommodative stance. Now this is a gear mechanism of a car, right? You have this parking gear, then you have this reverse, neutral, and drive. Now when we hear this thing called neutral stance, what basically neutral stance means is that interest rates are not going to be changed, or RBI will leave things as it is. And then you have this accommodative. Now imagine, let me throw some more light on this neutral thing. Now when you are on a neutral mode in your car or your motorcycle, what exactly you are doing? You are doing nothing, isn't it? Your bike is not moving, or bike or your car is not moving, your vehicle is there. And one more thing that I would like to add here, that when we talk about bank, when we say that the stance is neutral, basically bank has taken off its hand from this gear handle as well. So nothing is going to happen with this interest rate when we hear this term called neutral stance. Then you have this accommodative stance, and accommodative stance basically means you are ready, right? It means you are ready in the sense your hand is on this gear handle. So just in case if you need to drive, in here you can say that drive means raise interest rates, then you will do that, or if you have to lower down it, then you will do that. So this is a basic difference between accommodative stance and neutral stance. I hope this is making sense for every one of us. Price stability is one of the main thing. If retail prices are getting expensive, this is the example that I talked to you about, and inflation at present, retail inflation rate is somewhere around 4%. Now RBI has to maintain this 4% is its you can say middle limit, or it's right in the center, because plus and minus 2, so inflation should not cross 6%, and it should not be as low as, means it should not drop below 2%. So 4 is a good stand, but RBI would really work for somewhere in between 2 to 4. 3 is a good indicator. If it goes to 5, then again things are a bit not okay for RBI. It will become a bit accommodative. So it will try, and the thing is that the near future is going to be bit all right, because good rainfall, we are going to have good rainfall, but then as well RBI is not relying on rainfall. You know it very well, because of climate change and other things. It is becoming more and more unpredictable. Then you have this monetary policy committee. Let me tell you one more thing, that you have this 6 members in this monetary policy committee, 3 from RBI and 3 from the government, and they take a decision, democratic decision, and again majority wins. Just in case if there is a tie, then you have this RBI governor whose stand will be taken as final stand. And CPI, that is Consumer Price Index inflation, the projection is that it is going to go down a little bit. And the fourth quarter, you have 4 quarter in a year, 3 month each, and then you have this new fiscal year that is just started from April 1st April. So new fiscal year is going to be all right as far as inflation is concerned. It is going to be not that heavy or sharp, so things are all right so far. So this is the reason why RBI has not changed anything. Again, it is watching, right? It is observing the trend in the market. The good thing is that things are, when I said that things are going to be all right, the good thing is that this forecast for the first half and the second half of 2018-19 is going to be good. Inflation is going to, means it has been trimmed lower. It was 5.1 plus. It was predicted that it will be 5.1 plus, but now it is said that it will be somewhere between 4.7 to 5.1. So that is a good thing. And later on it will be 4.4. So it will be, of course, in this bracket of 2, 4, 6. But RBI would love to see it below 4. 3 point something is all right. Now, key factors cited by the RBI in lowering inflation is that vegetable prices are going to go down, and fuel as well. The fuel price are going to stay stable, not too much problem from this two thing. And again, fuel is a very important thing. If the price of fuel goes up, then your transportation prices will go up, and your vegetables and fruits and other retail items will become expensive, and this will impact each and every one of us. One more important thing that I would like to highlight here, and you will find this item in the business page as well. So it is covered here, so you can quickly have a quick glance over this business page. The surprise is that the decision to jettison, basically now, earlier on or till now, gross value added, GVA, was the main measure of economic output, but now it has been switched by this RBI. It is going to go through this, or will take into consideration GDP rather than GVA. So this is a very important change done by RBI. And the other thing is that the growth forecast, or GDP expansion or growth, will be 7.4. It has been kept unchanged. So this is the reason why this article is saying that you get a sort of mixed signal from RBI, because on one side it is saying that inflation is going to come down. On the other side, it has not changed this growth forecast. So that's everything regarding it. Now, another article, very easy to understand, I believe, because we have talked about this thing a couple of days ago. Again, the things which we are going to discuss here is going to be a bit different from what we have already discussed. So we'll try to add more value to what we already know. Now, this resounding defeat, no confidence motion was defeated. So things are all right as far as this joint government that we have, or national unity government that we have in Sri Lanka. Things are all right so far. And this person that you can see on your screen, he is Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Ranil Wickremesinghe. He has survived this no confidence motion. The Buddhist and Muslim groups, they have supported Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. But that does not mean that this political uncertainty that we have seen in recent past in Sri Lanka has ended for good. No, it's still there. The problem can exacerbate in future, or can increase in future, because this person here, this gentleman, his name is Mahinda Rajapakse, and he is basically, you can say, resurrecting, right? He was president of Sri Lanka. When he was president of Sri Lanka, in terms of India, if we talk, then we find that he was inclined more towards Sri Lanka, I beg your pardon, towards China. And it was under his reign, this Hambantota was given to China to develop as a port for dual purpose. And Hambantota is a big economic failure for Sri Lanka. And you can also say this thing that Mahinda Rajapakse's regime was more tilted towards China, and it was not that friendly with India, something that India will definitely not like to see. Now, this national unity government came under strain after it means basically this Prime Minister and President of Sri Lanka, the one you can see on your screen, his name is Maithripala Sirisena. They were against each other during this local polls. They have lost this local poll to parties backed by this person. Now, the main reason, and this is said by the President is saying that one of the main reason why they have lost or this local polls, or why this joint government, this national unity government has lost this local poll, is because poor performance on the economic front by Sri Lanka, and it is the responsibility of Prime Minister, has been said by the President. The other thing is that there was a bond scandal in Central Bank of Sri Lanka, and this person, this governor of Central Bank, is appointed by Prime Minister. So these are the two big things because of which, as per the President, they have lost this election. The other thing is, we also saw this communal violence targeting Muslims. It was what, a month ago, and deterrence, basically this fear of return of the days of Mr. Rajapakse's political dominance, is something that has saved this joint or national unity government, because people know how more autocratic Rajapaksa's regime has been. Now the thing is, there are many challenges that are faced by Sri Lanka, and the reason why we are discussing Sri Lanka in detail is because it is part of our neighborhood, and India and its relationship and things that are going on in our neighborhood is very important for you guys to understand, because you may find question as far as geopolitics is concerned. There are high chances that you will find a question on neighbor rather than a country that is far away from us. So in this way, Sri Lanka is a very important country for us to understand. Now, as far as its economy is concerned, it's stagnant. You have this big problem of unemployment. Now, of course, you can understand if you go through geography of Sri Lanka, then we know this is a tiny island. So setting up big factories over here is something that is not going to be possible if you compare it with India and other. But you have some other advantages. You have good water over there. So tourism industry is something that can be developed over there. But for that, you need political stability. You have this bad image of civil war and other things. Then as well, people do visit Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka, all those people who have visited Sri Lanka, they have said things generally good about Sri Lanka. Food, you have rubber industry, you have fishing sector and other things. Based on that, you can develop medicine and other items, right? Based on fish and other marine resources. So these are the things that can be done in Sri Lanka, and through this way they can get rid of this unemployment problem. The other thing is investigations as far as this criminal cases, or you can say corruption cases. It has been very, very slow, and in terms of international commitments as well, Sri Lanka has failed so far. It has committed in front of this international community that it will promote accountability and reconciliation, but still we haven't seen that many changes. But even now, as we are speaking, time is there in the hand of this unity government. They can sort out all these things. They have 2 years to go, and this is not a small time, right? They can do many things. They can turn this tables in this 2 years. Moving on to this fake news fiasco. Now, the reason why we are discussing this thing is because, you know, a couple of days ago, this thing was out in news. Smriti Irani or her I&B ministry came out with this notice or order that any journalist who will report fake news, whether they have done it purposefully or by accident, their license or their recognition can be taken away. So this was considered as a very harsh step by this media community, and it's not just media community. And this is something that we rarely see. That she is a senior colleague of Prime Minister, and Prime Minister's office has overruled this decision by her ministry, and less than within 24 hours things were changed. And it's not something that Smriti Irani was asked to change. Basically, she was ordered to change, and things have changed as well. Now, this is not the first time, as per this article, that Smriti Irani has stumbled on a banana's skin. She has been a bit controversial minister, you can say, because of various things like statements and this sort of stand. And this is a very famous picture. I'm not sure how many of you are aware about this picture. When this picture was released by Press Trust of India. Now, on one side you have Vice President, who was earlier on minister. He used to look after this INB ministry, and he has said this thing many a times, that all these cartoons and other things that we find in newspaper is part of our politics, has always been part of our politics, and all this criticism and other thing, or this humorous thing, should be taken very lightly and positively by all politicians and all governments. And this is right as well. And if you see this statement of George Orwell, he said once that that free speech doesn't mean anything unless someone is offended. A very deep statement here, that free speech, of course, when we say we have free speech, or in practicality if we are practicing free speech, then when we say something, someone may feel a little bit disturbed or offended, but that does not mean that you use that strong language and you pass threats. No, it's not part of free speech. When I say something that I believe is right, and if you are a naysayer, then of course you will be offended, but that does not mean that we place a dagger on each other's throat. Anyways, when this picture was released by Press Trust of India, at that point of time, Smriti Irani tweeted and said that this is not fair. This is basically about Friendship Day between Nitish Kumar and Narendra Modi. And so it was a funny picture. It is in fact a funny picture, but this was taken very seriously by Smriti Irani, and eventually Press Trust of India came out with an apology. So this was a big controversial stand taken by Smriti Irani. Apart from that, we have also seen the statement of Prasar Bharati chairman A. Surya Prakash. A couple of days ago, it was reported in this Hindu newspaper. He gave an interview to a Hindu newspaper, and he said that the bureaucrats in the ministry have passed several orders which indicate that they have utter contempt for the Prasar Bharati Act. Now, Prasar Bharati Act is passed by the Parliament, and it gives full autonomy to this Prasar Bharati. And what we find is that this ministry, INB ministry, is trying to interfere with this Prasar Bharati, the way Prasar Bharati is working and things like that. It has tried many a times interference. It has basically asked Prasar Bharati to cancel this contractual employees, to terminate all contractual employees. So this basically means that Prasar Bharati even cannot appoint people they find best for the job. That's what this ministry has been trying, but they have not been successful in this thing. What they did is they blocked this salary that was supposed to be given to this contractual employees. The other thing is that Prasar Bharati CEO's appraisal was being done by, or they tried to, this INB ministry tried to do it by INB secretary appraising, and then finally reviewed by the minister. Now, if you go through technicality, then we find that CEO of Prasar Bharati is an employee of corporation, and he or she is not falling under this ministry. So this ministry, they don't have any right to appraise and review the performance of Prasar Bharati CEO. This ministry, they want an IAS officer to take over, or basically as a member, a full-time member, so they have their eyes and ears, or many times hands, in the working of Prasar Bharati. So these are the things done by Smriti Irani, and you may easily say that these are the things done by the bureaucrats, but bureaucrats will act only if their main boss, that is the minister, if minister is providing full support. And in this case, it looks quite clear that yes, minister is providing full support to these bureaucrats to take over this Prasar Bharati. Moving on to very important article. This is about Skill India. What we urgently need is we need to sort out, means we have this program called Skill India, but it's not enough for us to train people for just blue collar jobs. Now there is nothing wrong with blue collar job. Work is work, right? Everyone is capable of doing different type of work, so everything at the end of the day is part of or adding something to our this ecosystem. When I say ecosystem, I'm talking about this economical system, right? We all are dependent on each other. So blue collar jobs are good as well, but at the same time we need to create this human capital. We need to build our, say for example, blue collar jobs should be designed, or the people working in this blue collar job, they should be performing in such a way that things are much more faster, there is less wastage, less money is required for production. In this way our goods and services will become more competitive. If you talk about semi-skilled or highly skilled people, then we need to add this thing that how we can produce more jobs, because we need more jobs, isn't it? In today's era we have somewhere around 10 lakh youngsters coming out or joining the coming out. They are coming in the market, finishing their education and everything, but we are not able to create this many jobs. Anyways, so if we want to make the most out of young population that we have, then we need to sort out this Skill India. We need to add skill and vocational training and other things in our youngsters. Now we have this Sarda Prasad committee that was formed back in 2016. It came out with its report in 2016. Remember, Sarda Prasad committee is associated with this vocational education training or Skill India. Now it said that we need to rationalize this sector skill councils, and sector skill councils are basically employers body, mostly promoted by this FICCI and other industry bodies. Now it is talking about this vocational education training that is called VET system, and VET system is trying to fulfill this demand or necessity or this skill set that are required by employer. And it is also so it is, you can say, demand and supply. And the demand side, if employers are looking for a particular skill set, then it will pass you, or it will talk about this and this are the things that employers are looking for in employees. At the other side, it is preparing this workforce as well, young and old, both, for a decent livelihood. Now the thing is, it has suggested that we need to change our mindset as far as this vocational education is concerned. We have to change the way things are going on. Now what we are doing here is basically for a very long period of time, right from your primary education till you finish college and things, you don't have, generally speaking, we don't have people who will have this exposure to practical world, like what's going on in different industries and things like that. Now all of a sudden you ask them to go through some couple of months for this training program, and then you expect that they will have all these necessary skills and things. So this is not how it works. We have some good examples from different countries, like China, say for example. China has started different schools and colleges and other things. They have this degree issuing authorities, and they have this, the whole program is not for a couple of months. It is an ongoing program in China, and because of this thing they have observed, or they are seeing some good results as well. Something similar can be done in our country too. We can have schools, we can have colleges, and we can have universities that is producing trainers for skilling people, that is producing not only trainers, but you can also have different courses that can add vocational skills in you. And once you go through it, or you can have subjects as well, right from your primary school, you can have one subject on vocational. It could be optional, it could be mandatory, it all depends, but you can choose what you want to study. So these are the things that are required. Then we have a very good example of Germany. A couple of days ago, I was talking with you guys in PIB analysis, and I gave you example of Germany, and the example of Germany is relevant here as well. Now, what they are doing in Germany is they have this whole module, or you can say their curriculum is not decided just by academic world. It is decided in consultation, or you can say, means literally this business or this people who are practicing all these things. When I say practicing, I mean to say if you are talking about pharmaceutical sector, then you will have people from pharmaceutical sector part of your syllabus designing program. And once you have this proximity with the practical world, we are bringing this theory and practice on one board. And if a course is designed by these two extremes, then you can understand that students are going to benefit out of it, because they would be knowing what's going on in the real world. At the same time, they would be studying theory. The other thing is they have a very good system of entrepreneurship. So not entrepreneurship, internship. Internship basically means that whilst you are studying, you can join a factory or a company. You will stay there, or you go there on regular basis or weekends. Maybe you spend 3-4 hours over there. You observe how things are being done by them and things like that. And there will be a person who will guide you and train you and inform you how things are working in that particular industry or company. So you are learning something from there. So this sort of things are going on in Germany, and we need more of this thing. We need to train our people for national and global level, for global mobility as well. Germany has 340 courses. We would need somewhere around 450 courses. And if we go through our figures, then we find that most of our courses or the training, short-term skill training in our country, only 36% of different companies are there. Means we have in total 36% companies, generally speaking bigger ones, they provide training, or else you don't get any sort of formal training in our country. Then government can play a very important role in collecting data and sharing it with all these people, so that they can have a more informed decision. And if we want to develop, of course, if we want a rapid development and growth, then we need to make the most out of our youngsters. We have to train them, and we have to add this skill set in them. Moving on to news item, Salman Khan gets a 5-year jail term for this black buck poaching case. Nepal has said that it is not going to use, or it is not worried about this debt trap. Debt trap is basically a view of India, as been said by Prime Minister Oli. He said that it basically his government is not seeing Nepal as a land-locked country. It is seeing it as a land-linked country. Then you have this Chanda Kochar of ICICI, and brother-in-law is squeezed by CBI. CBI has booked a Vadodara-based firm for cheating 11 banks. You see this. There are so many firms out there, isn't it? 2,654 crore rupees. This is not a small amount at all. Then you have this bench. It has asked government that in future, because you have not defined this biometric that clearly, you may ask for DNA sample and for hair sample and other things in future. So what do you understand by this biometric thing has been asked by Supreme Court. Moving on, government forms a committee to regulate news portals, this fake news and other things. So again, let's wait and watch. It will be having this 10-member committee and things like that. And then RBI bars this banks from dealing with virtual currency like bitcoins, and there are many other currencies out there. Then you have some pictures. We were talking about this, checking out this MPs who are creating trouble. So this person has been means this chairman, vice chairman is trying to convince him to leave, but he did not left. So finally the marshals forced him out. Then we see this very sad situation that our youngsters are brainwashed and they are Rather than having books in their hands, they are having stones, and they are chucking stones towards police. You see leopards honing their skills, and then we have this golden start in sports. Very interesting cartoon as well. What do you make of it? And that's everything in today's discussion. These are your questions. I'll see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.